There is a moment that often happens in our lives where we can honestly say, up to a certain point, my life is going a specific direction, but at that point, everything changes. It can happen in a variety of places and times in our life, but we can see the demarcation from before and after, and it's clear. It can happen for some the day that they pick which school they're going to go to after high school. They're going to college, vocational school, maybe to the military. And because of that, a whole new set of experiences are going to be available to them. Their life will now be fundamentally different. Or maybe it's that job. I could have gone here, I could have gone there. And because I picked this job, my life looks different now. It could be for some who stand up at the altar and say, I do, knowing that their life now changes. Or for those of you who are parents, the day you hold your child in your arms and you go, oh boy, things are going to change now. There's a number of these moments in life. They are real, they are true, and once you have crossed that line, everything is fundamentally different. We act differently, we think differently, we live differently. Welcome to Easter Day. And I want you to think about those disciples for a moment to get the sense of the contrast, the sense of how different it is. Up to the death and resurrection of Jesus, the disciples are afraid. Afraid. Peter, afraid for his own life, will betray the Lord of the cosmos 3 times. When they arrest Jesus, the rest of the disciples will scatter. Scared. Terrified. They'll all be watching at a great distance. They won't be able to overcome their fear. Jesus dies, and Easter morning comes, and the word starts to ripple out through the city of Jerusalem. Have you seen him? Have you touched him? Have you eaten with him? He's alive! He's alive, and we have seen the risen Lord. And immediately, everything for these people will take a 180-degree change in a different direction. And suddenly, those who formerly were afraid and scared and worried and anxious are going to go out into the world, and they are going to speak the good news of Jesus. They are going to tell people that He is risen. And no longer will they be shackled by fear. In fact, they're going to face suffering, persecution, imprisonment, and martyrdom. And they'll do it with joy. Why? Because He's alive. The moment one accepts and recognizes that Jesus has been raised from the dead, everything is different. What is there to be afraid of? Jesus died for our sins. He rose for our lives. That the death of Jesus on the cross was for every sin you and I have ever committed. Every suffering you and I have ever facilitated. Every time you and I, by our words, our speech, our actions, have hurt another. He took that pain on the cross for our sins. But He rose because life is precious, life is sacred, life is holy, life is worth fighting for, worth dying for, and worth living for. And He died and rose for us. Not that we would live in fear, but that we would live the gift of our lives with power and grace and joy. He's alive. And the minute they got that for their lives, forever changed, they would change the world. They would preach and proclaim, bring healing and hope, joy and strength. And as they did it, the good news of Jesus proclaimed to the world. Folks, that change continues to happen today. The minute you and I fundamentally acknowledge that He is alive, everything in our life takes on a whole new meaning. Because right now, no matter where we are in life, no matter what we face today, you and I have the chance to bring light to this world. We have good news. We have hope. We have strength. And it's time to live it. It's time to walk out these doors and bring by our words, our actions, our thoughts, strength, joy, peace, love, hope, life. This gift of life is not meant to be squandered. It's not meant to be wasted. It's not meant to be idle. that Jesus Christ died and rose for each one of us because we're worth it. Because when Jesus looks at every one of us, He knows us. It's not like we can hide. It's not like we can pretend. He knows us. And one day we're going to stand in front of Him. And one day when He looks us in the eyes, He's really just going to ask one question. It's the same question He asked Peter. Do you love me? Do you love me? Because the love of the Lord that He offered on the cross and the love of the Lord that He offered when He rose is meant to be lived. It's meant to be put into practice today. Today, you and I have a chance to bring light to this world. Today, you and I, by the gift of what we are going to receive here, can make a difference out there. Folks, make a difference. Make a beautiful, precious, holy, sacred, wonderful difference for the Lord. That the transformation that He started 2,000 years ago only continues on today through our lives to those we meet. That is Easter grace, Easter power, and Easter joy. God bless you all.